Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen where I am actively trying to get hair out of my face. Tonight we are going to be making grown-up SpaghettiOs, or in my house we call them Mattios because that's what it is. So to start off with, I've got some salted water back there boiling. I did start that about 10 minutes ago. Normally that would be the first thing that you're going to start, is to get that going and also get your oven turned on to 425 degrees. Since my water is ready to go, we're going to go ahead and put in our noodles, which is not an O-ring noodle. This is orecchiette, and I believe I'm saying that correctly, but it almost looks like a little hat. But I like these ones because they kind of still have like an O-ring shape to them, but they're little cups, so they hold the sauce a little bit better. So this is my personal preference, but you can definitely find like some ring-shaped pasta for your grown-up SpaghettiOs if you want to make them. So, I forgot. I got everything ready except for a stirring implement. Of course, it wouldn't be a video if I didn't forget something. So we're gonna go ahead and let those cook. That's just one package of them, which is 1 pound. So 1 pound of pasta. Now we're gonna get started on our meatballs, which I feel like I have given you guys so many different meatball recipes recently, and it's so weird because growing up, there was only ever one type of meatball that I would ever make, and it was always, for the most part, the same shape and always the same ingredients. But now I've just given you 3 meatball recipes, so I don't know what's going on with you guys. Okay, so I have 1 pound of grass-fed beef there. I'm gonna be using Italian-style breadcrumbs today because I want it to not just have that plain meat texture. I want it to have a little bit of, for lack of a better term, breadiness. Probably somewhere between 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. And then I'm also going to sprinkle in a little bit of Parmesan cheese. This is the shake style cheese, as we call it, and normally that's not what I use when I'm looking for a Parmesan. But you'll hear me probably say this a couple times throughout the recipe. I am trying to make a grown-up version of SpaghettiOs, what we all grew up eating. But I'm not trying to make it so nice and so sophisticated that you can't see the similarities in it, because I wanted it to actually taste a little bit more like SpaghettiOs, more like what we remember, and not just like noodles and meatballs, you know. So for that reason, I'm not doing a whole lot of strong flavors. I'm just trying to add in flavors that I feel like are more mild, because if you think back to eating canned pasta, it really didn't have any strong flavors in it. It was really pretty uniform across the board. So that's really what we're going for here. Yet another meatball size. These guys I like to keep pretty small just because of the nostalgia effect that, you know, the meatballs in the can were always small, so I try to keep these ones small. I mentioned a minute ago that our oven is preheated to 425 degrees. So after I get all of these guys rolled, then we're gonna pop these in the oven, and then we're gonna start making our sauce. So they will be cooking while the sauce they'll be cooking while the sauce is getting made. Nathan's so kindly getting my hair out of my face for me.
I wouldn't want hair in my face if I was trying to talk to somebody.
But I look cuter with the hair in my face, honey.
Yeah. This is food, not beauty.
So guys, I'm gonna have you come back once I have got these in the oven, and we'll get started on our sauce, and you'll see how quick and easy it is. Alright guys, welcome back. So I just put the tiny meatballs in the oven. And now I am melting down about 3 tablespoons of butter. You could use butter or oil for this, but I inherently feel like the butter is just a little bit softer and nicer of a flavor. So, as I said, mild flavors here, so I went with the butter instead. I have 1 yellow onion, about a medium size, that I have chopped up here. That's going to go into my little butter. And then I have about 3 small cloves of garlic chopped up as well. The first time I made this, I actually didn't add the chopped in garlic because of wanting that more mild flavor, and so I just added garlic powder. So you can really go either way. If you don't like the fresh garlic, then definitely consider going with just garlic powder. I think it needs that flavor, but not necessarily the strength. So normally I use way more actual garlic cloves, and in this I kind of backed away from that. So we're just gonna let this kind of saute down to form the chunky basis of our sauce. It's not really gonna be very chunky. It's gonna be pretty smooth, but I do like to have those onions in there for the extra flavor that they give it. And my noodles are not quite done, but they are getting there, so that is encouraging. It didn't take them long. And I have the onions on about a medium heat. I'm just waiting for onions here. Alright, so our onions have had a little bit of time to cook down. They aren't really caramelized, but that's absolutely fine. It doesn't need to be caramelized, just really cooked down a little bit to take that edge off. And then I have a big giant can of crushed tomatoes here. This is going to be where our tomato comes from. You can also use tomato paste if you would like, but the tomato paste would have to be reconstituted anyway. So I personally like using the crushed tomatoes in this application. So that's the basis for our sauce. And then we're gonna start building our sauce from here. And for this particularly, you want to make sure to have a tasting spoon nearby, because it's really a matter of getting the taste right with your ingredients and with your taste bud to taste like that classic taste that we all remember. So what I'm going to do with my tasting spoon before I actually use it to taste anything is get some brown sugar in here. You know, those canned pastas were pretty sweet, and so we're going to add a little bit of sweetness into this, which is not something that I normally do with a pasta sauce, but in this I feel like it works, and it gives it really that memorableness in there. But you don't need very much, so I used about 2 tablespoons. And I'm also going to add some Worcestershire sauce, which gives it another layer of just what it needs, a little bit of extra flavoring in there. And I'm going to turn off my pasta because I am fairly confident that's about done. And I'm gonna actually taste it at this stage and see what we need in there. I have ideas, but we're gonna taste it. Okay, so it tastes very much right now like the sauce from a can. I'm gonna let Nathan taste it too, see what he thinks. So right now we've pretty much got it at that canned pasta stage, but this is where we want to come in and elevate it a little bit and make it a little bit more grown up. So we're gonna start off with some garlic powder. About a teaspoon of that. Some onion powder. And once you add your tomato in, you want to turn the heat down a little bit. About half a teaspoon of onion powder. We've got plenty of onion in there, so we don't need a whole lot of onion powder.
That actually wasn't too sweet. I was thinking when you were putting in the brown sugar that it would be too sweet, but it kind of takes the edge off of the
Tomato-y.
Yeah, because the tomatoes are kind of acidy, and then when you put a little bit of that in, it kind of just makes it more smooth.
Yeah.
Not too sweet, but not too tomatoey.
Yeah. So while Nathan was talking, I added in some salt and pepper, probably about half a teaspoon of both. And I'm also going to, this is completely optional. If you don't want to add it, you absolutely don't have to, but I am going to add in a little bit of an herb blend because it's me and I probably wouldn't be cooking if I didn't add herbs into something. It really does kind of like blend in, and they're not fresh herbs, so they're not super strong in there, but it just, I felt like doing it, so I did it. I mean, that's really the long and short of it. All right, we're gonna give it another taste now. I'm thinking we need a little bit more salt.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Not too much though. Because it's pretty well spiced, I would say.
And we're also going to add a little bit of our
Cheese.
shake cheese in here. Now I'm adding it at this point because I actually do want it incorporated in the sauce. I don't want it on top of the sauce. I want it in there because I feel like that's another like background flavor that you maybe are getting in a canned pasta. So that's why I'm putting it in at this stage. Let's do hopefully a final test here on tasting.
Delicious.
All right, beautiful. So we are going to go ahead and cut away now. What I'm going to do while you guys are gone is finish up the meatballs, which is really just the oven finishing up the meatballs. But we're gonna let those finish up. I'll get the pasta in here and then we'll bring you back so you can see the finished product. Welcome back, guys. All right, so here's our little mini meatballs, and we're just gonna take them right out of the fat that cooked out of them and put them in here. Now I didn't let these get like crispy like you saw in the Swedish meatball video where I let it develop a skin because well, I guess it's not really skin, but a crisp on it because I wanted it crispy for that particular recipe. But we never had crispy meatballs in SpaghettiOs or spaghetti rings or, you know, whatever. So I try to keep it kind of consistent with that. And I just love how tiny and cute they are. I think they're the cutest little things. I'm pretty sure that I like this better than my giant meatball. So you just mix everything in.
Looks like it's done.
It is done.
Hooray, I'm hungry.
So now we'll get a spoon, get some in a bowl so that you guys can see everything all put together. Now if you really wanted to, you could get some fresh basil and top this with that. We're just gonna top it with a little bit of our refrigerator cheese here. And there you go. That's the finished product, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And if you did enjoy the video, please leave me a like. Thank you.